gearing up to shoot our film experiment. Escape Room is a short one-scene film that we're going to make 3 times using 3 cameras. Why? To showcase the form factor options and some key sensors made by our good friends at RED. This whole project is new ground for us, and the support we've had from our partners has been incredible. So we wanted to give them some love and explain our approach to capture, backup and post-production. RED makes some of the best cine cameras in the world. Recently, Mank won an Oscar for cinematography, and it was the first time a RED camera had been used in a film picking up that prestigious accolade. Now, you don't need us to extol the virtues of RED's cameras. The internet is full of that already, including some effusive praise from one Jason Momoa. But we do want to talk about what happens after you shoot your film. There's a certain preconception when it comes to RED's post-production workflow. It's often thought to be complicated and time-consuming, but it's not. We'll cover that in more detail when we get into the edit. However, our test shoots have been incredibly smooth. We've also been shooting our recent YouTube videos on a RED DSMC2 and editing in Premiere Pro with no problems at all. When we get to backing up our footage on set and working with it in post, we'll be using LaCie's One Big Dock and Rugged Pro SSDs. The dock comes with a built-in card reader, so we can offload from our Komodo CFast cards nice and quickly. The same goes for the mini mags for our larger RED cameras. We'll back up each scene onto its own Rugged Pro SSD and also the One Big, so that there are 2 copies of each. But we'll also take an archive copy onto an LTO tape. That way we've got an original to come back to and reference if something goes wrong. It always makes sense to have an archive copy of your original footage for larger projects. RED and LaCie play really well together in a post-production workflow. The One Big Dock we've got here is the SSD version, so it's incredibly quick, and it's portable, so we can give it to our editor to take away and work with. It connects over Thunderbolt 3 or USB-C, so speeds are incredibly fast and reliable, making sure we can edit right off the One Big in 16-bit RED code RAW. What's exciting for us is the potential to push what can be achieved on set using some tools that you might or might not be familiar with. We'll cover our workflow for each camera in another video, but what I can say for certain is that our backup process is robust. Sure, you don't have to use something like the LaCie One Big Dock for your primary backup, but it makes sense for us because we'll also be using it as our edit storage as well. Because it's got integrated readers and a USB hub, to which we're connecting our Minimag reader, the whole backup process turns into a breeze. You just need to make sure that you have access to power and a laptop to get it all done. Even the most stripped back of DIT carts can benefit from a tool like this, and the 2TB Rugged Pro SSDs mean that we can have an immediate second copy if we need it. One for the editor, one for the office, and one for archival to keep everything safe. That's pretty well covered. Ideally, you always want to make sure you have 3 copies of your footage, particularly for client work. Our film doesn't involve any planned VFX, but there's always the possibility that we might want to do some object removal or basic compositing. We'll have enough latitude in the RAW files to get good colour accuracy too. The whole edit is going to be handled by us internally to keep costs down, but if you're working with an external editor, all of the options we've described will work well. If you're planning your own shoot but don't have the budget for something like a One Big Dock, then the Rugged Pro SSDs are definitely the way to go. So here's a breakdown of our planned workflow. For each scene we'll have a 1TB recording capacity in the camera, CFast for the Komodo, mini mags for the DSMC2 and mini mags for the Ranger. Once we're done shooting, we'll head over to our DIT station and pop the media into the LaCie's One Big Dock to take our primary backup. We'll then copy the source footage over to a Rugged Pro SSD. Not the copy from the One Big Dock, but actual source card, just in case there's been some form of corruption. We might use something like Kino to make the process smoother and to perform a simple checksum to ensure we've got everything. Lastly, we'll copy our source footage onto an LTO tape before wiping the cards ready for the next shoot. And for this, we'll be using Yoyota. Sounds simple enough, but there's a risk that it'll take a long time, hence the SSDs. Recently, our videos have been getting around 250 gig of footage, and that's been taking 12 minutes to copy over to a rugged RAID shuttle, which runs RAID 0 hard disks. So we should be fine with SSDs, but we'll run a timed test in the next few days just to be sure. And that's it from us. Huge thanks to RED and LaCie for their support. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for updates, and we'll see you in the next video.